presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play $5, $100 match on your first deposit with the promo code WELCOME to Light Years. Andy Lou, Lindy Waters. Is this Lindy Waters' team now?
Is he the best shooter on the team? Because that shot is pure. So look, man, everybody said he could shoot. You told me he could shoot. I watched him shoot. It's gorgeous. It's unbelievable.
I got a lot of thoughts on today. Probably more thoughts than I should have for preseason game one. But I'm going to start with the first one, which was, it was nice to have Warriors basketball back. This is a great sports Saturday. Which is why we're recording it here. Probably, first preseason game doesn't need a 3-hour pod. You don't want to listen to it. We don't want to do it either. So, but it was nice to have him back. We spent a lot of time in the off season. They're officially back.
I love basketball. You love basketball. I love basketball. We love all sports, but I think my first sport is basketball. So, sure. It's sentimentally, it's like you said, nice to have. I don't even care if Steph didn't play tonight, and he didn't play the whole second half. You and I, all of our loyal listeners, watched every minute. I know some sickos out there are going to be Light Years fans, YouTube, people listening on YouTube, but people watching on Playback Live tonight, like people are going to re-watch it. And buddy texts me like, hey, don't tell me what happens. I'm going to be re-watching. I'm like, get ready, Lindy Waters, baby. Lock in, Quentin Post, a little hook shot. You know what I mean? DeAnthony Melton looked awesome. I know
we'll touch. Touch.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
It was all around fun. So like my high level, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So my high level thoughts here were, it looked everything like a preseason game one. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. Can't be making overly definitive statements, but the one thing that was interesting, that was a statement, was that starting lineup.
Yep.
I quite frankly was shocked. So, 50-50. I applaud Steve for trying it because I think it goes against what he wants to do, but this is the perfect time to do it. We're talking Steph, Melton, Kuminga, Draymond, and Trace. That lineup. He even said this pregame, that was a lineup we were not comfortable going to.
Yep.
Last year.
Comfortable going that route. Exactly what it looks like. We got to see, because last year we didn't feel comfortable going that route. So we would love to have play Draymond at the 4. Trace gives us a shot blocker next to him. We want to play JK, and if he's ready for the 3, then and it works with those guys, then we'll see. And if not, we'll adapt. But
side note. This sounds like when you do something to make your bosses happy that you don't want to do.
Interesting. You're not saying that without a reason.
I don't know if you agree with me. Because he's talking about, it's like, we want to play Draymond at the 4. Yes. Trace gives us a shot blocker, and we'd love to play Kuminga at the 3 if he's ready for that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm a cynic. Maybe I'm a cynic right now. But the way he answered that is hilarious. But they did it. They did it tonight, and you know what? They should do it in the preseason.
Yes, correct.
You have nothing to lose doing it.
So I agree with all, because here's the thing. Here's my thing. I think you're right that Steve Kerr doesn't want to play the starting lineup. I think the front office or whoever's telling him that he has to try the starting lineup is more right. Because if this team wants to be successful long-term, it's like, would it be better if they just didn't start Kuminga and put like Pajemski out there, or like put Kyle Anderson out? Maybe not Kyle, but like someone that could shoot a little better at the 3, right? And could still defend. Obviously Wiggins probably. Yeah, but you're going to be missing too many things, right? You're just not going to be good enough defensively. You won't be able to shoot enough defensively or offensively, right? I just think there's too many missing gaps. This starting 5 is probably their best shot at a balanced 5-man unit to start a game. And I think defensively it showed tonight with that 5-man unit. They look good defensively, but I mean, what do we expect? A 3-man front court of Kuminga, Draymond, and Trace Jackson Davis was not good offensively. And so, not a surprise, but I like that they tried it. I liked it.
My thought is this team's ceiling is going to be determined by Jonathan Kuminga. He's the most likely player to break out as a 20 plus per game efficient scorer on this roster. I know they're talking about second option Wiggins. I've seen that in Minnesota. That's a 34-win team. It's not, if he is the second leading scorer on this team, they will not make the play-in. I'll put that out there right now. Kuminga, it might be the same thing, but I don't know for sure. I think he's a more talented scorer than Wiggins. I don't think he's a better player than Wiggins. Wiggins is a much more mature defender. And quite frankly, with the Warriors, he understands who he is offensively, which is more of like a 17 point per game guy. That's like where he's in his sweet spot, where he's like, I take shots in the flow of the offense and I do everything else that I can to help the team. All that's to say is Kuminga, I think, has the chance to be a 20 point per game scorer. And look, they didn't go out and get one. We thought they were going to in free agency. So all that's to say, like, everything they can do to play Kuminga more so we can find out sooner than later if it's going to happen is also probably a positive for me, even if it means playing him in suboptimal lineups. Because to your point, if he's going to be that 20 point per game second scorer who's kind of a quasi all-star and you know, everything the front office hopes for and everything, quite frankly, the fan base hopes for, he's going to have to do some of it at the three. It can't all be like small ball 4-5. It can't all be like mismatch stuff like that. And like, I'd like to see a stretch 5, but they don't have one on the roster. So figure something out with this.
Well, I'm quitting post. But I think unless him at the 4 is this super unstoppable force, then you're wrong. But I don't know. I don't think he becomes the super MVP level unstoppable force at the 4, right? Exactly. Then you're wrong. Then they can do it. But it's like, okay, I'd love to be wrong. Love for him to all of a sudden average. We're not talking about 20 points, and we're talking about 28. We're talking about, all right, if he's scoring 28 points at the 4,
35 and 20 again.
Playing him exactly. Then fuck playing him at the 3, right? But the goal right now that you're trying to say, agree with is, yeah, man, go figure out if this Kuminga Draymond 3-4-5 with Trace Jackson Davis at the 5 works. The season might depend on it. And maybe that's a little dramatic, but Steve Kerr can always go back to what works. And I think it's obvious. Like if he really wanted to put together like a solid starting lineup that can score, it can defend a little bit, can keep them in games, like
Melton,
do that,
Buddy,
exactly. Okay, go do that. You know, you'll be fine. They'll be fine if they want to do that. But for you to really, really like try, you want to be a 4 seed. You know, you want to win 48, 51 games.
I know exactly what Steph, Buddy, Melton, and I like these players. Slow-mo, Draymond is. That's a solid team that peaks at 47 wins. 47 wins, you know, right there. Yep. Kuminga is the player who determines whether they will be, I didn't see this coming. They might have something. Or time to finally make a trade you don't want to make because you don't have it internally. Because I think if you look at all the young guys, and I'm high on Pajemski, but he's not a 20 point per game scorer next year. It's not happening. Maybe never. Who knows? Moody, not that guy. Trace, not that guy. Kuminga he averaged 16 in like 26 minutes a game. Like he does score pretty effortlessly. And I just want to see what it looks like when he has more put on him. So
let me ask you this. To
the veterans, it's like we all know what they are at this point. So yeah, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I want to get your take on this. Is this the first time we've ever seen the Warriors experiment this way? Like, when was maybe the better question is like, have we seen them? Like, do they often do this?
It does feel like they're not, since the 2 timeline plan kind of started, it's been tension between the front office and the coaching staff, where the coaching staff just wants to play the guys they trust because they think Steph can win a title, which I don't have a problem with because he can, you know. They no longer have enough veteran firepower to do that. So now they're experimenting a little bit and we'll see where it lands. Like I could be a cynic about it and be like, dude, he's going to be Corey Maggette, you know, like, what are we doing? Right. Or I could be an optimist here and be like, you know what? Jaylen Brown. And the truth is, I don't know at this stage. I've oscillated between both extremes, and more than anything, I just want to see it because I hate the hypothetical anymore. You know what I mean? Like the hypothetical sucks.
It does, and that's why I'm so happy. That's why I was super happy when I saw the starting lineup because Let's find out together, man. I don't think Kuminga knows if he could do it, but let's find out. I'm sure he's confident.
Mhm.
I need it. I want to see it. I genuinely, to me, it's like if this means that, and it's like, hey, maybe should have done this last year, but forget that. We're in this year. We're in right now.
We can go down
know?
that road, but I don't feel like it's productive.
We flipped over a new page, man. It's the first game of the preseason. I was juiced. Yeah. I saw the starting lineup. I was really now okay. All right, maybe the last question on this topic. If Wiggins was healthy today, what's the starting lineup?
I don't want to go into the Wiggins topic, to be honest with you.
No, let's just say he's playing. Let's just say he's playing because he's starting. He would be starting if he's healthy.
If he's sick, why is he on the bench? I don't understand.
Is he on the bench?
On there.
Oh, sorry,
he was on the bench all day today. He's on the bench in a mask. I felt like I was in 2020, which, by the way, I threw that on Twitter and people thought I was implying that it was like Kai Bowman out there. Like, these guys don't suck, you clown. I'm like, I was just commenting on the mask, buddy.
I have no comment. I don't dive into as I text you. I don't dive into those topics. Just let me know when he's on the court. Hypothetically though, like is TJD starting if Wiggins?
No, healthy? I think they go with the small ball lineup for seniority's sake, and it works. We know it works. We know it works to a certain degree. Steph, Melton, Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond. It's like I think every fan here agrees that like they need to have a lineup that's not small ball. Otherwise, it's not going to work all year. Like there needs to be multiple lineups.
So maybe it's like an inversion of the dynasty days where they start small, right? They go with the seniority lineup and they keep Kuminga in the starting lineup. It keeps them happy, keeps them motivated. And then 5 minutes in, they take Kuminga out or take Wiggins out and they put in TJD, right? Put a big next to Draymond. So maybe that's what they end up doing. And then they close obviously with that small lineup is what I imagine they would do, unless Kuminga or Wiggins is shitting the bed. But I imagine like Steph and Melton, like Melton's normally probably good enough to close. Like he looked good tonight. So
let's shift to Melton real quick because that was one of the other topics I wanted to get to here, which was DeAnthony Melton. I mean,
love him.
Look, man, I knew he'd be good. I knew he'd fit, but seeing it on the floor just felt good the entire way. You know what I'm saying? He looks excellent player. Why don't you take it? I'm just gonna say nothing. So
so he's got a little more off the ball juice than I thought. So Fitz mentioned that they wanted him to function as like one of the primary ball handlers in the second unit and maybe even off a Steph a little bit in the starting unit, which I thought was interesting. I was like, I'm not sure. I watched him shoot a couple of middies and I'm like, he's got a little in him because you got to I forgot about this, but he's had multiple 30-point games in his career. I know in high inflation NBA, anybody can score 30, but it's still like you score 30 points. Like it's
not anyone can score 30, but yeah, I hear what you're
saying. But obviously the one thing I noticed, I think that the main thing I want to point out is Steph loves. You can just tell the way Steph is so happy playing next to Melton, right? He's giving the ball back to him when he's open to kind of get him warmed up, right? Get him an easy look, get him a rhythm look.
Know who he is?
Steph will show you in his body language who.
He's if you combine GP2 and Dante DiVincenzo in one player.
Ooh.
Which I think is a very nice fit next to Steph because he's one of the best on-ball defenders in the league.
It's a great
he just is. But he's got a little more off the bounce than you think he does. He can shoot the shit out of the ball. He definitely could be a guy who has a 7 3-pointer game, has a 5-6 3-pointer game. He might be streaky. It might end out at 36, 37%, but there's going to be nights where it's like, oh, Melton's feeling it. Feed him. To your point, he scored 30 in the NBA. He's definitely a capable shooter.
Also didn't really see him take like a ton of bad shots. I know, by the way, I love the GP2 Dante. Run that one. Use that one. Keep that one. Dante took a lot of crazy shots. By the way, good luck to Dante in Minnesota. I think he's going to be a great fit. But like watching Melton tonight, I know it's just one game, but I didn't see him take too many crazy shots. It's a perfect fit.
Chat called him budget KCP. I think he's got a little more off the bounce.
Might be closer to KCP.
Yeah. But I mean, like that's not an insult either. That's not an insult either. Those are that's what you want. Those are winning players. Those are closing playoff game players.
Yes.
DeAnthony Melton can close a playoff game. That's a valuable skill.
Well, how close is DeAnthony Melton to Derek White? Maybe that's a better comp because they're both guards.
Ooh.
KCP's maybe more of a wing. It's like, how close is that? And Derek White's one of the most instrumental role player guys in the entire NBA. Just won a championship with the best team in the league, right? Like, how close is Melton to
White's probably a better shooter at this stage. I mean, White's become such a better shooter than I ever thought he would. You know, like he went from being like a,
35
solid, like I can hit a shot, but if you pressure me, I'm probably going to miss it, to, oh, now I'm automatic all the time. So, I think he can get to that level. I think that's a fair call out. And I think that is a great winning player in general.
Lots of money coming to Melton's way. I know we're just starting, but a lot of money coming to Melton's way.
He's come back on the Warriors.
It's great for him. I'm happy. Yeah.
I'm just saying, we don't need to get that far out, but I think the Warriors signed him at a number where they can absolutely keep him, like with the cap rules. So that's exciting too. If he plays out the way that I think he can, they might keep him for 3-4 years. And he's exactly the type of guy I want on the Warriors for an extended period of time.
It just makes me so happy. I just GP2 Dante. I love that one defensively. By the way, GP2 looked good tonight. Got up for a dunk.
He did.
They looked good tonight. Looked healthy, right? But it's hard because I think one of our criticisms is or critiques about the roster is there's a lot of one-way guys, right? And DeAnthony Melton is if he's healthy, is one of the rare two-way guys that they have. DeAnthony Melton, Wiggins, two-way guys.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. You're talking about a Melton making a lot of money. You know who else can make a lot of money? You with Prize Picks.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. And like these are the type of days, Sam, that we're doing this on a Saturday night that it's perfect for Prize Picks, right? You've got baseball, you've got college football, you've got the UFC. We were doing a prop stuff on Pereira tonight. A couple of my buddies liked Roundtree, right? Got everything, man. You got every sport under the sun on a Saturday. It's perfect. You could throw 4 or 5 different bets on Prize Picks, right? All you got to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks, best way to get action over 30 states, right? California, Florida, Georgia, Texas. Prize Picks invented the flex play. So what this is means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't win. If you want to play Prize Picks alongside Drewski, Joe Budden, MMA champ, Sean O'Malley, you can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries and some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. So easy, man, easy. So what you got to do is this: sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play 5, right? So you play $5, you get 50 instantly. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections of 25% to provide even more value for your lineup. So download the app today. Use code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 off instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineups. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Oh, I will say, as much as we're acting excited that the Warriors are back, and we should be excited, and everyone should be in a good mood. It was a little bit of a struggle on offense. Yeah, I thought Lindy Waters game winner, 91-90. I think we had a combined 40-plus turnovers. Warriors 11 for 48 from 3.
Whoa.
Here's my question for you. How much of this is it's game 1 of preseason and everyone is shaking the rust off and it all looks ugly, including Steph? He only played 14 minutes, whatever, 2 for 8. Who cares, right? And how much of this is kind of a precursor to where this roster might be during the season?
First one, former. I think former by a large margin. I'm not even gonna look, man. Steph was going 50%, 40% today. 0 for 4 from 3. I mean, a whole big thing about the Warriors is you get confidence from Steph making threes, right? Like everybody up and down the roster. Also, if you look at the numbers, Kevin Knox 0 for 2, right? Like I'm looking at the wrong thing, but Buddy Hield 1 for 5, right? Like that's not holding, right? Quentin Post 0 for 3, Kevin Knox 0 for 2. We're not like those guys aren't playing in a regular. Who's Rowe 0 for 3? Like we're not counting that, right? So like that type of stuff, we're not. So I think it's the first game jitters. It's not a real game. I think the real question is, to what we alluded to earlier, it's the real offensive issue is not about the amount of threes that they shoot, whether they make them. It's the lineup construction, right? If you're putting Kuminga next to TJD, then it is possible. But you're not worried about the shooting, are you? Like people can.
Oh, I am actually.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
I'm not worried about Buddy Hield shooting the ball, to be clear, but. For me, watching this game, I see them go 2 different lineup combos, which all had 3 quote unquote non-shooters. So starting lineup is Steph, Melton, Kuminga, Draymond, and Trace. Then they go with the second unit, which was GP2, Buddy Hield, Pods, Slow-Mo, and Looney. Both of those have 3 non-shooters. And I do wonder when they start playing real competition if we start feeling that more so. To your point, I think today was more about missed shots, more just like, hey, man, dude, this is a first preseason game. Who gives a fuck? That sort of thing. But as this thing goes on, I do wonder if the lack of offensive skill is going to be something that holds this team back. Because they tried to establish defense. They tried to put size out there. And it did come at the expense of offense. Because the reality is they don't have really talented front court offensive scoring players.
You don't think Kyle Anderson is getting him there?
I love Slow-Mo. No Slow-Mo slander from me. I just say, like, look, man, they need like a stretch forward. They need like one front court player who's a scorer, but also can play defense. So I don't know if that's unique for them. I think a lot of teams would like to have a 6'10", 6'11" guy who can both score the ball and hold up defensively. Like I think everyone wants that. Add Jokic to this team, they're good. So like,
so I think there's a reason why they shot 48 threes tonight, and I think it goes right into what you're saying. Like they know what you're saying is correct, and that's why they hoisted 48 3-point shots. Like if Kevin Knox and Quentin Post aren't on the team and they went 0 for 5 tonight from 3, like those 5 threes are getting shot by Pods and Buddy Hield.
Whoever. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like they're not, just because like threes were taken by other guys doesn't, like, they're getting up. I think I don't even know what the number 1 team the threes attempted was last season. The Warriors have gotta be in the what do you know how much off the top of your head they attempted per game last season? I imagine the Warriors they're gonna be right up there, right? And then the Celtics do it because the Celtics are actually good shooters. Like the Warriors don't have the sheer volume of good shooting that the Celtics. I mean, Celtics have freaking Kristaps Porzingis at the 5. To what you're saying about stretch 5, then they've got guys. I know we make fun of Tatum and Brown, but those guys can shoot threes on volume. They can. People respect them shooting threes, and the Warriors are really they're really going to strengthen numbers offense, and they're going to do it by strengthen numbersing the 3-point line. So, I mean, isn't that, I mean, we started the show talking about the front office and Steve Kerr. Like, what do you think? Do you think Steve Kerr wants to put up 48 threes? Wants the team to put up 48 threes if it was up to him? Probably not. But that's just how the NBA goes now.
I think it's more about the quality of shots. And I think the Warriors, if this roster holds through and these rotations hold through, and I don't think they will, to be clear.
Yeah, no.
No. A lot of those threes are bailout shots because they can't get a better shot. Yeah, right? Like that's what a lot of it comes down to. It's like you pass it to Looney. He's not going to put someone through the rim. He's not going to finesse something else. So it gets kicked out and Pods ends up chucking up a 3. And if Pods can shoot, that's great. And if he can't, it's a miss. That's like a lot of their issues on offense. To your point, I have this from last year. The Warriors were 4th in 3-pointer attempts last year, which is 38.9. They'll be a top 5 in threes team. They either need to get someone, honestly, I think they need to add someone who can space the floor from the front court position. And then secondarily, someone like Kuminga needs to just start forcing the issue a little more. those are the things that are really going to change their offense, because they don't have that many ways to score. And when your team is kind of like stuck with like, we need like perfect screens, ball movement, everything to get a backdoor layup, if it doesn't happen, what ends up happening is a bailout jumper.
Yeah.
And I'd rather it be three. I'd rather it be three than two, so.
I mean, that's what they're saying. I mean, you're right. The Clay absence is going to be a huge missing gap, right? In terms of the amount of threes, and I think they're looking for it to get covered essentially by Melton, Pods, and Buddy are the three. They're gonna go like three. They're gonna go three guys to cover up like shooting that they're missing with Clay. But you're right. I mean, that's different from actually getting quality shots in a possession. It's like the difference between, I mean, it's not even fake shooting because Melton's not a fake shooter, right? But it's the difference between how Melton is guarded and Clay is guarded is vastly, vastly different. Like you're still probably going to live with Melton. If Melton makes 2 threes, I mean, you're going to live with him making a third, like go prove you can make a third or fourth, right? With Clay, even though, he's kind of not as great of a shooter anymore, it's like, I don't want him to get one. Like I'm not letting him get one. So I that's the big difference. You're right. You're right. You got me worried a little bit worried about the offense, but again, it goes back to one thing. It goes back to one guy. He's got blonde hair. It goes back to one guy and how easy he can help make the offense. By the way, did you see Fitz? What you think about his performance tonight? Because he was selling Kuminga. He was selling us on Kuminga. He's back to work. Fitz, no days off, not even in Hawaii. Shout out.
The man's a pro. I saw 29th year, which both surprised me and doesn't surprise me at the same time. I'm so ready for the 30-30-30 tour. Fitz is 30th, Steph number 30, all next year. It's gonna be beautiful. Fitz gonna wear number 30 Fitz jersey. It's gonna be great. Great. Yeah.
Fitz is another 29 years.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was Moody. Let's end on some Moody here. Appreciate everyone. Kind of shocking. He's the 11th man off the bench on this team. In the first preseason game. Is it shocking? Okay, no. Sadly, it's not. But, I would think with Clay gone, he'd be number 8. He'd get in that second unit, and he didn't. And then he comes in, and I don't know. He's one of the better players on the floor tonight. And for plus minus, he had the best plus minus on the team. So it's just he's definitely earning his way more minutes, and he's still not getting them. And I'm just kind of. It feels like a roster with too many guys where they're trying to get guys on the floor and they're waiting for a trade that will never come. That's kind of how it feels to me sometimes. But Moody is always getting the short end of the stick on this stuff.
It hurts me. It hurts me. I watched the game with my brother and a couple buddies tonight, and everyone's excited when Moody's in, and everyone's like, look, he looks great. Look at he pull up 3, right? Midi, right? Pull up midi, little fadeaway. Couple steals. He's always making the right pass. I don't know, Samuel. The hard conversation with him, I think, is twofold. It's he either just shouldn't be on the team at all, because why do you even have a guy like Moses Moody, especially when he's if he's a vet, I think who cares, right? He's a vet, 10th guy, he'll live. But if he's a young player, right? It's a young player. So either it's twofold. 1, you go and give him the opportunity to play. Or 2, we got to have tough conversations about who he should be playing over. And is that person is it Buddy Hield? Is it Andrew Wiggins?
GP2?
Those are GP2. Like those 3 guys are probably the guys that you would have to have the conversation about who he should be playing over. And let's see. Like 20 games in, let's see. Like he just might be too good for them to say, well, GP2 should be playing these 2 minutes, right? So,
to me, it's a lot like the Kuminga situation. Maybe not as like obvious in the starting lineup, but it's your ceiling is going to be defined by if this guy can become a better player, become a rising role player star. Whereas, Buddy Hield, or in my opinion, like GP2, like I don't know how much faith I have in them. Just in general, I'd rather kind of see what I have with Moody if we're going to go down that route than the other way around. So maybe it's just the first preseason game. We'll see. But it was disappointing to see him be like, it's the same thing it always is. He's always like the guy who, you pull straws and he has the short one, and it's just like, screwed. It's like you just at some point you feel bad for him because like he's not doing anything wrong. I can understand the concept, which is like Wiggins are just better than him. These guys are just, but it's like, you don't have that roster, and he's not doing anything wrong. At some point, we should just see what he has a little more.
I think also, and maybe this is the tough love part. At some point, he also has to just play to the he has to just be good enough to where they can't take him out. And as much as I love Moody, I don't think he's been like so great they can't take him out. You know what I mean? I think of Elliot Ramos, who's the Giants outfielder, who was just like he wasn't good before the season, and he was just never on the team. But all of a sudden, he shows up and he's mashing the ball, and they have.
But isn't that like that was the entire criticism of Farhan too, which was unless you come up and hit like your prime Barry Bonds and go like 20 for 40 over 2 weeks, you're going to get yo-yoed, So it's kind of, it kind of ties together, which is like Moody needs to literally shoot 60% from 3 for like 3 straight weeks. Otherwise he's going to get benched the minute he goes 0 for 5, which is still unfair, right? You're right. I mean, you're right. And for the Giants, by the way, it's just they should go 20 for 40. And then all of a sudden Luis Matos is hitting 0.97 across the next 80 at bat. So it's like, well, it was kind of fake, right? So it was kind of fake. And I think it's different. I think Moody is like a real basketball player. I think he's truly going to be in the league for a long time. He's not like these Giants guys, let's be clear. But it's I don't want to end on that sad note, but hopefully, how about this? Hopefully we'll get him going. I had a feeling that 10, 15, 20 games in, he's probably he's going to get all the minutes that GP2 is playing, and if Wiggins doesn't want to show up, he'll get a ton of those minutes too. I just got a feeling. He's gonna force his way in this year. I mean, I hope so. I think he probably has the highest approvals outside of Steph among Warrior fans. Just seeing him get pulled around, never complaining. You just want to see that guy find something, find some level of success. Steph, Looney, Moody, Lindy Waters, top 4 approval rating as a Warrior. That's probably correct. Melton made a strong showing today to get himself into the conversation. I think he will eventually jump over Lindy Waters. But yeah, I want to end on one comment in the chat because I get this all the time, so I just want to answer it. The comment is, we do have shooting. Steph, Buddy, Melton, Moody, Wiggins, Pods, even Waters. What are you saying? Okay, those are all guards. What are you saying? Are you watching the modern NBA? Boston has shooting from 5 positions. The Denver Nuggets won a title with their worst shooter being Aaron Gordon, and they had 4 elite shooters across the floor. When the Warriors won the title, they had elite shooting with Otto Porter, obviously Steph and Clay, and Wiggins. They had shooting. You need shooting from the front court to win at a high level. You need 4 shooters across the floor. And I really think the shooting conversation, which is why the Warriors always end up going small, is because of the front court. That's really all it is. Looney's not a shooter. I mean, every time I see a quote, I want to believe, but he's not a shooter. Trace is not a shooter. Draymond, I don't care if he shoots 39%. He's going to take 2 a game. No one's guarding him. He's not a shooter. The shooting thing has to do with the front court. That's what I'm saying. Otto Porter, that's what made them have a good 5-man lineup. Kevin Durant back in the day, Harrison Barnes, those type of players. So I would like to see them add a front court shooter to make the lineups all make sense, because it's hard to play 3 non-shooters in the modern NBA. It's hard to play 2 even, but Steph lets you do stuff you shouldn't be able to do. That is the end of my rant. Antonio, I appreciate you always throwing comments. Always happy to comment. I got nothing better. Clip that. Put that on the next post. I love it. I mean, you're right. It's just, I feel like it's one of those things where sometimes I feel like we talk about it in an offhand way, and I can't always assume people understand or you can't know the back conversation. Yeah, exactly. So they need to find a shooter who's over 6'9" who can defend. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Find me a player over 6'9". Yeah, that'd be cool too. All right, appreciate everyone. It's preseason. We'll go 2 hours when they lose the 3rd game of the season. I promise. Love y'all. Much love. Subscribe. Great.